So I hit up 2 LCSs on Free Comic Book Day. Stay tuned to see what I picked up besides free comic books. Welcome back, comic book fans. This is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today we're going to go over the books I picked up on Free Comic Book Day at 2 of my favorite LCSs in the Baltimore area. Now, this video is going to be about a week old by this point, and I'm sure everybody else on YouTube has already got their LCS, their Free Comic Book Day videos already out. But this is mine, and because of scheduling, this is when I could air this episode. So I hope you enjoy this. You know, I picked up more than just some free comic books. I picked up some other books and had some other experiences at both of these shops. And I had to do this quickly because this was a work day for me. I still work on Saturdays at 3 p.m. So had to get to both of these, and are not close to each other. So I did some traveling and was able to pick up some great books besides the free comic books. So we'll get into the books, but before we do that, definitely make sure you hit that like button, slap the subscribe, and definitely hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on great episodes like this each and every Monday at 10 a.m. All right, guys, sit back, let's get into these books, and I'll show you what I picked up. All right, so the very first shop I ended up going to was Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland. Now, this is a shop that I've talked about multiple times on the channel. They are really, really good with new comic books, with comic book variants and ratios, with toys, with trade paperbacks. I mean, the selection's fantastic. Lots and lots of toys, but their back issues are not quite as deep, although they have expanded their selection of some older books, and they have this great wall of keys. They range from really nice things, I was going to say, but some real more expensive books to some lesser keys. So there's a wide range for you to select from, and it's an interesting mix, and you never know what you're going to get in there. And they advertise on Facebook when they get some certain grails. In fact, they just pulled out of their warehouse a Hulk 181 that one of their other customers ended up picking up. You know, I was unable to get in there when they put that online, so no chance of getting that, but definitely they have some good things on the wall, and that's what I picked up when I went to Free Comic Book Day on Saturday, on the first Saturday in May. And the reason I picked going there first was they were open at 9 a.m. Now, by the time I got up, I still work on Fridays that I don't usually get home till about 3 a.m., so I needed a little bit of sleep. So I didn't get there early to get in line early or anything like that. In fact, I didn't get there till about probably 20 minutes after 9 o'clock, which was fine because everybody had already entered the store, but there was still a big line in the store, wrapped around the store, heading to the table with all the free comic books. And not only did they have their regular selection, they also had the free comic books, but they also had a writer there of one of the free comic books. It's from the Conan the Barbarian series. And I'll show you the book right now. They had the writer there. His name is Jim Zub, and he's doing the new Conan the Barbarian series. And it's like, well, I'm here. Let's go ahead and get him to sign it. So he ended up sending copy to me. He did personalize that one, and then he signed another copy for me just to sign it. So I thought that was really nice. And just a quick flip through, if you guys haven't seen this is really good. The writing's fine. I mean, it's going to be, you'll have to actually read regular issues and see where it goes and what the storylines are like. But the artwork, as soon as you open this up, and here, let me show you this. Can you guys take a look at this right here? I took a look at this, and my first thought was, am I looking at someone who's trying to emulate John Buscema? Because this is very Buscema-like, and it was interesting when I got up to the table and he signed the books for me. I was saying, hey, I was just flipping through the books. It looks really, really interesting. And even he brought up, he said, yeah, really, it's a kind of a throwback to the old John Buscema books. And John Buscema probably enjoyed doing Conan more than any other book that was out there. You know his disdain for regular superhero books, and he loved Conan. He loved doing Thor when he was in Asgard and not on Earth. He was just more comfortable, and I think he just enjoyed the non-superhero work. But it was very reminiscent of John Buscema work. And I look forward. I think this is a book. So Free Comic Book Day is going to work on me because I will try to pick up the series, at least a few issues, to see if I enjoy it. But it was nice to get these signed. And let me run through some of the free comic books I picked up. I had avoided the year prior going to Free Comic Book there because Third Eye Comics has a tendency to stamp their comic books. And if anybody knows anything, if the books are valuable and you want to send them to CGC, with that stamp on there, you're going to get hammered. They do not like store stamps on comic books. Even though, as you can see here, all the free comic books, or most of them, put a spot, where is it there? Right there, to put a store stamp. So this year, luckily, I was able to see a photo of their table set up, and I'm looking at it real close, and it says, I don't think they put stamps on their books. So when I saw that it was 9 o'clock, I had just woken up. I said, let's go on down there. That'll give me plenty of time to get to the second LCS, and we'll go over that one in a little bit. But let's just go through real quick what I picked up. This is the Sacrificers from Image Comics, and I'm not even going to get into the what's and wheres. Basically, they let you pick up as many comics as you want, pretty much one of everything. Although Third Eye is real lax. They didn't necessarily enforce the one copy, no dupe rule or anything like that. They didn't even say anything like that. I think most people were pretty respectful, and they had plenty of the books of each one that they got, but I definitely felt like they didn't get the full selection of free comic books there. But let me show you some other ones. We have Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids, Clark and Lex. We have Marvel Voices, #1. And I find that some of these Marvel books, some of them can be kind of interesting, as well as DC. Sometimes you get a first appearance and things like this. So it's always good to pick those up. Girl Talking Over, it's a Lois Lane story. I'm sure this is something I probably won't enjoy, but hey, it's a free comic book. We'll see what it's all about. This is Donna DC, Night Terrors, and that's an interesting illustration of the Trinity. But if you look real close, if you got a copy of this, you see people taking pictures of them, and they're not seeing the Trinity, they're seeing something else. So that's going to be interesting. I think I'll enjoy reading that and seeing what's going on with that. This is the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. And let me put the stack down here. This is the Umbrella Academy from Dark Horse. And I don't even know how to pronounce this. This is a Japanese comic. You can see that it's from Viz, and it's published like it's in Japan. It's manga, and it's in Japan, so it opens from the other direction than we're used to here in America. So don't make me pronounce that. I have no idea. I think didn't they do a Spider-Man Venom issue last year with a Romita cover? So we got a copy of that. This is a Gleason cover. We have Spidey and his amazing friends right here. We have a new copy of The Uncanny Avengers. We have another comic from Viz Comics. This is Welcome to Animal Crossing. And, yep, I'm looking at the pile here. And that was the end of the free comic books. And just seeing all the photos that were advertised out there, I could tell that they didn't have every free comic book available. But I picked up one of everything from the table. So while I'm there, I'm going, okay, they're running a 15% off anything in the store sale. I think they actually had dollar bins outside. But I'm also limited on time. And looking at the line of people that were in that store to get free comics and then buying things. I mean, the line, I've never seen the line in Third Eye Comics wrap around the store it wrapped between aisles, and it was interesting. It was to the point where when I got to the end of the line, there was somebody and they gave me the sign to hold last person in line. So when the next person got in line behind me, I just passed the sign down. But that's how crazy it got, because it wrapped around the store, around all their aisles, about half the store. And I'm going, I almost didn't want to buy anything just to get to the other LCS, but I'm glad I did because I ended up picking up a few good things, including 2 really nice keys. But the first ones I ended up picking up, they're not necessarily keys, but things I had not picked up previously in the last week. Both of them are on the new comic section from this last week. We have the new Shazam from DC Comics that just came out. And I did pick up this because I'm a sucker for facsimiles. I did pick up a copy of 178 Strange Tales, the first Warlock in Strange Tales, and I've never read this. I don't think I ever had that. I have picked that book up recently at a LCS when they were doing a sale, but I wasn't happy with the condition, so I passed on that. But I've actually never read that, so I'm going to sit down and actually read this at this point. Those were all nice, but then I got to their wall of keys, and I'm going, okay, 15% off, and I'm looking at some of the prices, and I'm going, okay, it's on the upper end of what I'd like to pay, but if I get a chance, let me look at the condition, clean and press, definitely, these are books that would be worth it. So I picked up this right here. It's Batman 656, and this is the first full appearance of Damian Wayne. Now, this is a book I had on my PC. I was collecting Batman at this time, and with all the news of Damian Wayne recently from the James Gunn universe, this book exploded. There's several more with Damian Wayne. I think the issue right before it's actually a cameo that's even probably more expensive, but this is a book that as a 9.8 is still going for over $200, $250, somewhere in that range. And I took one look at this, inspected the spine mostly, looked at the corners, everything looks really good. So I'm optimistic that this will be another 9.8 candidate to get into the shop. I'll get it in there, we'll clean and press, we'll see if we can get that up. But I also picked up this, and this is a really good key as well. This is Darth Vader number 3. And this is a book that has really gone down in price over the last couple years. This book right here used to be raw, you'd be paying $200, $250 for. Well, with 15% off, I was more around that $85 range. And I still wouldn't have picked it up if it had a spine tick or 2, and you can tell that's a very dark cover, and it looks super clean. So I'm optimistic that we can get at least a 9.6, I'm hoping, but definitely really shooting for that 9.8 on something like that. It still has a lot of value. It's still a really good key, and I'm sure this is a book that will go up once we have her in any of the live action Star Wars on Disney Plus, or in maybe even the movies, who knows. But this is what I picked up from Third Eye Comics. I hope you guys like these books right here. Let me know what you think about these keys, because I thought these are really good. So the second shop I ended up going to was Cards, Comics, and Collectibles. They are located up in Reisterstown, Maryland, and this is a store that I've probably been going to longer than any other in this area. I've probably been going to the store since the early 90s when I first moved to the Maryland area. They are the owners, creators, and host for the Baltimore Comic-Con, and I look forward to going to their con in September this year. They got some great creators. I hope you guys will come to that con as well, and if you see me, definitely reach out and say hi. But I went up to their store because I know that on Free Comic Book Day, they usually get every comic book, or just about every comic book that's available for the retailers to give out to their customers. And they're a little bit more strict on the one per, no dupes type of thing, but they don't discourage you from picking up one of everything. So it was fun to go up there and pick up things from them. And let me just go through them real fast, and I'll get the last book I'll stop and talk about a little bit. But I picked up another copy of Marvel's Voices, Uncanny Avengers, another Night Terrors from Dawn of DC, another Umbrella Academy. You never know when something will hit on some of these books, so I always like to pick up a couple of these just in case a new character pops out, and all of a sudden you've got a valuable comic book. So it's nice to be able to pick up an extra copy on most of these. They did have some left over from last year. This is The Boys. I believe this was last year's. They had Spider-Man Venom, and I think they actually had last year's as well, but I didn't pick up another one of that. This was real neat. I picked it up before I even saw what the name was, but I was going, that looks like Frank Frazetta, and it is. It's for Frazettaverse. So I picked that up just because the art was just so spectacular. I did pick up another copy of Conan the Barbarian. This one's actually unsigned. This is one I actually enjoyed reading the regular issues of this. This is West of Sundown. That was some fun books, and I specifically loved their covers that they had on the regular series. That's probably what drew me into them. They had a little bit of a nostalgia feel to the covers that I found was very interesting, and the storyline was pretty good too. So I look forward to reading this copy. They had Animal Castle, Volume 2 here. RuneScape. This is from Archie Horror Presents The Cursed Library. That looks interesting. It's always funny. It's which ones I'll be interested in reading actually, rather than just collecting. But this one looked interesting. Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas: The Battle for Pumpkin King. All right, let's move these down. And as I said, they had a bigger selection, and I had a few from last year as well, but I didn't pick up a lot of last year's. I did really well in picking up additional copies of everything that I thought would be very popular. They had several different Star Wars issue, and they did have a Star Wars The High Republic Adventures copy for this year as well, so I've only got one copy of that. Who knows if Star Wars is a real good candidate to have new characters show up in a book like this. This is the Smurfs 65 Smurfs anniversary? Wow. They're not that old, are they? No, it's not that old. I don't know what that is. But anyway, Smurfs there. We did pick up a copy of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then Dogman, the Last of the Misfits. This is, what is this? I can't remember the character. What's the character's name, guys? I never read this, but it's interesting. I'll go ahead and pick it up. And then the last book I picked up, at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles, they had some creators there, and one of the writers was there for this. This is Tom Holland's Fright Night. And it's not Tom Holland from Spider-Man. This is the writer, I guess the creator of the original Fright Night. But the writer for the comic book series was back at, I don't know if it was back at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles. I know he's back on this book. It's James Koharic, and he was real nice. I talked to him for a minute or two, and he signed a copy of his issue right here for him. So I'll take some time, especially after getting to meet a creator like that, to take some time to read the book and see if I like this as well. So that was it for the free comic books. I just want to go through those quick because every video out there is showing you the free comics they picked up. But more interestingly to me is what else did I pick up at these shows. So, all right, these events. And this store, Cards, Comics, Collectibles, was not running any kind of discount on their regular issues, but they did have usually they do weekly sales, weekend sales, I should say, for different things. And most of the time, it's going to be on the toys and the trade paperbacks or the hardbounds. And this week was 50% off for your graphic novels, your hardbound books. You could have made a good deal on a lot of your big, giant artist edition books that can run several $100s, and a lot of times you can get really good deals. In fact, all of the hardbound, these big, giant artist edition books that I picked up over the years that I picked up from Cards, Comics, and Collectibles, I did that at these sales where it was either 50 or 60% off. So I've saved a lot of money in collecting those over the years, but I don't have a lot of them. They're all stacked over here in the corner. Some of them have been signed by this point. But I did pick up a couple of new books. This right here is right off. It's not newest this week, but it is fairly new. It's Extreme X-Men #1. And I will tell you this, the art on this series right here, who is this? La Rocha? It's fantastic, but Chris Claremont's writing this. And I didn't even know that. I picked it up and I was kind of reading through it, and I'm going, the art's fantastic. It's actually really good. But I started reading it, and I'm going, there's something familiar about it. And I'm going, well, it's actually good. It was really good. And then I saw that Claremont was writing another X-Men title, and I'm going, okay, right there immediately went to the top of my list. Favorite X-Men book out currently right there is this book right here. I am enjoying this. Of course, the first couple issues, you had Kitty Pryde, and he brought back some of the story that was from the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine miniseries back from the 80s, and that was kind of interesting to bring back some of that storyline in the modern day, and just absolutely really enjoying this series. But I felt like going through some of the bins, and I've gone through Cards, Comics, Collectibles bins multiple times, and got to be honest, most of the time a lot of stuff is can be a little overpriced. Some of the major keys can be really overpriced. But some of the things that are slightly overpriced, usually I will wait for their sales. So they'll have a sale once or twice every year, the Thanksgiving, Easter sale, and they have 30% off of their premium books. But I did go through some of the things, and I did find a copy of this that I didn't mind paying a little extra for because the condition looked really good. And I pulled the trigger on yet another copy of the new Teen Titans annual number, what is this? It's number 2, isn't it? Yeah, number 2. This is the first appearance of the Vigilante, not to mention a host of other minor villains in this book as well. And this is a book that I've owned since it came out, and in one of those original copies that I had, I actually got George Perez and Marv Wolfman to sign. It's not the prettiest issue because it does have a couple of spine color breaking ticks over here, but it also, I was using silver paint pens back in the day and thought it had dried just enough, and I put it back in the bag, and a little bit of the George Perez, I believe the George Perez signature smeared a little bit, but it's a PC copy, and happy because it gave me another chance to meet George Perez, and that's one of those things that I will look back over the years and be thankful for all the opportunities that I had to meet George Perez almost on a yearly basis, thanks to the Baltimore Comic-Con. So this one looked in really nice condition. I have yet to be able to get a 9.8 out of this. Like everything else, the values have dropped. I don't have prices for you right now, but I still shoot for a 9.8 to have this in the PC. This looks like a really good candidate. But the other thing that I picked up, and the last thing for the video for today, as I was saying, Cards, Comics, Collectibles was doing a 50% off sale on their graphic novels, trade paperbacks, hardbounds, things like that. And as I'm sitting there, and I started thinking, well, I was thinking about their convention that's coming up it'll be in September. I'm going, actually, that one as well as the Heroes Con in Charlotte. I'm thinking, well, who's going to be there? And I saw this book, and they used to have this as the giant artist edition, the hardbound, and it was always seemed to me like they'd double priced it, so whenever they did their sale and had to sell it, they'd sell it at the price that they would have liked to have sold it at to begin with. But since then, the publisher, and I believe it's IDW, and it is, IDW had come out with some smaller paper-bound editions of these artist editions. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pick this up because it'll be a lot easier to thumb through. The art, it's a little bit oversized than the original comic, but definitely undersized for their traditional artist editions, which are the original art size. But I picked this up right here. It is the Jim Steranko Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. collection of original artwork. Now, I don't know if I don't think it's going to be complete. I've found that these artist editions, they find the original artwork. And here, I'll open it up so you can see some of this in here. I'm just going to open up to a page. And you can see that it's not just a reproduction of the artwork in black and white. It's a reproduction of the actual artwork itself. The way you would see it, if you had a piece of original artwork, what would it look like? You would see all of the, say, notes that are on the side, maybe some pencil marks. You may see some blue line. You see some whiteout, or you may see some zipatone. The actual art. It's an actual piece of art. Well, these books, these artist editions, you get to see all that. And Jim Steranko is going to be down at Heroes Con in July, and I was thinking about, would this be something good to get him to sign? Regardless, it's a great book to have. These books are half price off of the price, and this was a $40 book that I got for 20 bucks. So for 20 bucks, I don't mind taking a book like this. Whether I get it signed or not is irrelevant, but it's one of those where I might take it down there to get him to sign this and have another chance to have him tell me one of his fabulous stories like he did last year. And we'll see about that. If I run across the hardbound and I find out a good price, and it's going to be the full-size original art size, I may pick that up just to get him to sign that. But anyway, that was the last thing that I picked up from Cards, Comics, Collectibles on Free Comic Book Day. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what you think of all the books I picked up, Free Comic Book Day books, or any of the other keys, or this trade paperback. Let me know, do you have any of these books in your collection, or are these things that you would like to have in your PC? Let me know by leaving me a comment in the section below. And that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Appreciate you spending time with me. If you ever are interested in any of the books that I spotlight on the channel, definitely reach out to me at collectorauctions@yahoo.com or DM me on Instagram. And better yet, if you're just interested in any of the books, a lot of them, especially the slabs, I'll have listed on my eBay page as well as on Shortbox, my Shortbox page. All these links are going to be in the section below, so you check those out if you get a chance. Again, just reach out to me and we'll work a deal, I'm sure. But thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, supporting the channel, and join me for the next show. And it'll be 10 a.m. Like I said, Fridays and Mondays at 10 a.m. each and every week. You never know what it's going to be exactly about, but it's most likely going to be always about comic books. So join me then. And remember, guys, as I sign out, remember, every comic book has a story.